Hello, Illinois. Thank you guys so much for having me here, or almost having me here. As we mentioned, I am actually in Anaheim right now. So it made sense for me to record this in advance so I could be with two APTA groups at the same time. Very excited to be here, or almost be here.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The saying goes, and it's a little bit controversial, but the saying goes that the phone that you have right at your side is probably more powerful than the technology they used to put a man on the moon. What we're going to try to do in this webinar is to help you figure out a couple more things that you can put in your toolbox that maybe will make this phone that you have or this device that you have more valuable to you whenever you have it. All right, we are going to jump right in here. I want everybody, no matter where you are, and I can't see if you're doing this, of course, to raise 3 fingers. Think 3. We're going to go through a lot of different tools today. I've got a whole bunch of things I'm going to go over, and you've already probably discussed several things because you saw them on the list. I don't want you to think about a ton of things. I want you to think about 3 things. Think about 3 apps, no more than 3 apps from this entire thing, this webinar and the ones that you're going to share that maybe you could use right away. And the rest of them, save them for a rainy day, share the links. We've got all these in handouts, and I want you to use those. I'll give you those at the end, and Matthew will probably send them out. But remember that you don't have to write everything down. Just remember to write down 3 things and start using those things. Let me just jump right in now to tools that'll help you with Get Stuff Done. Oh my gosh, this cracks me up. So don't you hate it when you're at work and you go into work? I know you've got a lot of patients today, you got a lot of things going on, but today you're going to get caught up with all that stuff. And you've got a list of things you want to get accomplished. All day long you're working, you're answering patients, you're working with patients, you're going back and forth, and you keep this list and you're like, I'm going to get it done. By the time the end of the day comes around, you look at the list that you were going to get done today. The only thing you crossed off is get lunch. Yeah. The problem is that so often we're distracted. When we finally do get a chance to sit at the computer, there are so many things going on, so many things to look at and check. For gosh sakes, Facebook, things are happening all the time, that we don't get tasks done. So here are a couple of tools that may help. The first one is called IFTTT. It's not actually called that. That's what I call it. It means if this, then that. And what IFTTT is a multi-app automator. It's a little recipe maker for all these things in the cloud. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to be switching back and forth from apps. If this, then that will let you set up tiny recipes that make it so you don't always have to do everything yourself. It's tiny things like, if I change my Facebook picture, then update my Twitter picture. If it's going to rain tomorrow, send me a text message at 7 a.m. If I leave my house or I leave my work and I'm on my way home, send a text message to someone I love that I'm on my way. Or send a text message to someone I love that the dishes better be done by the time I get there. You know what I mean? It's just these little tiny things. Now, a lot of them are related to social media, but there are a whole bunch of things that you can have that'll relate to education, putting things together when you go to a conference. For example, at the APTA conference this week, you could set up a little recipe so that every time something is tagged with that conference and it's a piece of education, that they're tweeting out and you can't be at the conference, you could say, every time I favorite one of those, save it in a Google spreadsheet so that it automatically keeps track of every little piece I want to save. Let's say you're at your clinic, at your office, you guys have a social media site. You could say every time somebody hashtags or tags my building or our services or whatever, save that tweet or save that picture in a Dropbox, what have you. It connects all these different things. One of the challenges, though, is that there are so many different little recipes and little ways to put things together that it kind of gets confusing. So they tried to put together this thing called the Do apps. And the Do apps are supposed to be a lot easier. They're just like one button things, like quickly create an event, very quickly. Set your Nest thermostat. You can connect your Nest thermostat to, it's called the Internet of Things, and you can connect it to your phone, all those kind of things. Wow. I'm in my home office. I'm so sorry. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry. Let me get this. Uh-huh. Oh, I see. It's a guy saying it sounds like you might need to escape the meeting that you're in, because one of the tools is called Get Yourself Out of an Awkward Situation. And I just press that big button, and within about 30 seconds, your phone will ring, and you can go, oh, I'm sorry. I really have to get this. It's really important. I'll be back. Never, it turns out. But, thanks for playing. If this, then that. The cool thing about if this, then that, besides the fact that they changed their name, they're now just if, but on the website it's still if. The cool thing about it for me is that it's free and it's growing. So they keep adding different things that you can do. So as more devices become connected, as your phone can do more things, if will help you connect all those things together, and the Do apps. All right, that's that one. Like I said, I go back and forth. Another situation you might find yourself in is that you're working in your office, you're working with a group of people. Maybe you guys have a project you're doing together. Maybe you're doing an open house. I know at my physical therapy office, they did an open house when they moved into the building, and they offered free massages for people to come to get to know them and things. And that's actually how we found our physical therapy experts. And all these projects require people to get organized and to know what they're going to do and who plays what role. And that's so challenging. We've all tried to keep track of different projects and different people and different situations on a spreadsheet and with email. And it just doesn't work very well. What we need to do is put together a project management tool that allows people to have a beginning, a middle, an end. Everybody knows what everybody is supposed to be doing. The transparency goes through the roof. Everybody gets updates. Everybody can check it. And people have different permissions to do different things and all that kind of stuff. There are several tools out there like this. One of them is called Basecamp. It's kind of an old school one, been around a long time. The challenge that's coming up with Basecamp and some of the older ones is that I would bet that many of you are working in an office that has multi-generations, right? You've got people who have been there for a long time and maybe aren't as technologically savvy, and you've got people who maybe are younger and coming in, are very tech savvy, but they don't necessarily have the office knowledge. And you have to get everybody on the same page, literally in this case. So Trello is my favorite tool in this category these days. It's a project management tool that lets you organize projects, invite people to work. You can even do personal projects, right? So you don't have to do just organized for a whole office. You can do personal task lists. Trello, the reason I like it for different generations is because we've gotten in this concept of cards. A long time ago, it made sense for a web page to have tons of information on it, right? And you scrolled down, you scrolled up, and everything was on one page. These days, especially for younger generations who are used to just flipping on the phone, the idea of cards is the hot ticket right now. So you have cards of information that you flick through. And Trello organizes a project and your tasks into cards. So instead of having a long list of tasks, everything is on a card, just like a Monopoly game. And you can organize the cards in a list, you can reprioritize, you can stack them differently, and everybody in the office can be connected to the same lists and have the same information. So that's Trello. It's free for up to 5 what they call bulletin boards, so 5 projects, and you can have as many people as you need and want on each one. Now, I can't go through this without telling you what my business manager uses because she is so enamored with this. It's called Todoist. And what Todoist is a task list that lets you put people's names, everybody's assignments all together, and every day it kind of just shows you what has to be done for that day. You can access both of these from anywhere, and they both have robust free versions. While I'm on this topic, I didn't put it on this list, but please write it down. It's going to be on one of the other lists you have. But there's a tool called COZI. Let me just go to that site so you have it as a reference. COZI. Cozy. And what Cozy is a family-friendly calendar and task manager. I tell you, every time I speak to groups, and I know that many of you guys as physical therapists, you're balancing home and work, different lives. I bet a lot of you have kids and spouses and relatives whose lives you're keeping up with at the same time. So Cozy, it looks like Cozy-O. Their logo always looks like it has an O there. But Cozy lets you have everybody have a calendar and everybody can see where everybody is, except teenagers. I can't promise anything about that. But everybody can see where everybody is, and you can make group task lists. You can make group grocery lists. You can put all of these things that you may have to balance with your family together. And again, it's free. There are 2 things I have to tell you about myself. Number 1 is I'm cheap. So all of the things I'm talking about today are either free or really, really inexpensive. Number 2 is I'm honest. So I talk about Cozy, I talk about Trello, I talk about all these different things. I'm not telling you because I make money from them. None of these groups pay me to talk to you about them. I don't talk about a tool because I get an endorsement. I talk about a tool because I think you're going to appreciate it. So there's that little speech. And Cozy was a bonus. Let me go back to the slides. I hate this part because I have to tell you something. Your passwords suck. It's true. Your passwords are bad. Most people's passwords are bad. The problem is we have only so much space in our brains to remember them, and frequently we use the same ones over and over again. I would bet most of you have like 5 passwords and you use them over and over again. Don't you hate it, like when you're trying to log into a site and they'll log you out, they'll like lock you out if you've tried 4 times and you don't get it and you know it's the 5th one, but it's too late, you're already locked out? Yeah. The problem is that when you use usernames and passwords for multiple sites, hackers have an easy door into all kinds of your sites. If they can hack one area, then they can use that information to hack all kinds of things about you. And the more things they know about you, the more likely they are to be able to get in and cause trouble. Some people say, Beth, there's no way that anybody would want to get into my computer. I mean, come on, I've got recipes in there, I've got kids' pictures, nothing of value. Well, they may not find something of value, but what they may do is get in there and turn your computer into a robot computer that will spam other computers and try to get more bad things. I mean, it's a mess. They're always trying to get in. So you need a unique username, password combination for every single site you visit. Every single site you visit. It's insane. That's tons and tons and tons, but you need it. And here's why. You need to make sure that if a hacker gets into one of your sites, that none of the others are going to be compromised. There's no way you can remember it, and you sure as heck don't have enough sticky room space around your computer for all of the notes. In my sessions when I'm doing them live, I say, okay, whoever can pull out a list of passwords that you have folded in your wallet, if you can pull that out, you get a nerdy rubber duck. And every time, at least 5 people in the room pull out a wallet and there's a list of passwords. It's not a security system. You really need to take care of this. So I use LastPass. What LastPass is, in a nutshell, is a site where you can, it's called LastPass because it's the last password you're ever going to have to remember. Mine is really long, has a lot of numbers and letters and things like that, but it's the only thing I have to remember because everything else LastPass puts into the system without having to have me remind it. Let me show you what I mean. I'll come over here. So I will go into, hold on just a second. So I went to the site united.com, right? I fly all the time. When I click on the sign in area, what happens is it pulls up something with these little marks. Now, actually today, LastPass changed their logo. So it was a different logo, but now it's these 3 little dots on the end. And what that means is that inside here, I have 2 different sites, mainly because I changed a little something, but it has everything stored in there, so I do not have to fill it in. You see, it's already filled in. Now, some of you might say, hey, my browser does that for me already. You're right. Many browsers will have this kind of storage area for passwords. It's not as secure as something that is made to store your passwords. Some of them are pretty secure, some of them are not. So some of them you may have autofill enabled on your browser and it may be keeping them, but that may not have the firewalls you're looking for. So anyway, here's mine. If I click sign in, it has already pre-filled that information. So I don't have to remember what this password is. And it's long and complicated. It's like 12 to 16 characters. It's got letters and numbers, and it was automatically generated when I pushed a button through LastPass. So it put all the information in there for me, and I don't have to do it. If I want to change it, I can change it through LastPass, or I can change it through the site, and it keeps track of the new one for me. Very quick, very easy, very fast, very organized. And I can log into my LastPass vault with my long password from anywhere and get into my system. In fact, just the other day, I lost my phone. Like, I was speaking and then I got off the stage and I walked away and we couldn't find my phone anywhere. We were going to the airport and I was like, I can't leave without it. So I was able to log into somebody else's computer and use LastPass to log in to find my iPhone with Apple and play a loud sound on my phone because my phone had been turned off because I was speaking. So I was able to find and log in from another person's computer very quickly to find my phone, which happened to be on the podium next to the next speaker. So, surprise. But anyway, you can have this system and just let it run itself, and then you just have to keep track of that one last password. So the question many of you may be asking is it safe? And the answer is no. No, nothing is safe. If you're online, you're not safe. In the past few years, everybody has been hacked. I got letters from both Anthem and the university, or the Office of Personnel Management or whatever, the government one. Both of them had my information when they were hacked. So I've got those things going against me. We've got Sony, we've got eBay, we've got LinkedIn had a problem. All these groups had a problem. Some things are outside of your control and some things are inside, like your password management. LastPass was hacked. About 9 months ago, I think, it was hacked big. And according to the experts and me, the defenses held as much as they could, and the breach wasn't huge. And one of the reasons I still trusted is because after the hack, a group called Log Me In, which has been around a long time. It's a security firm that lets you access your computer from far away. A group called Log Me In bought LastPass, went through with the sale. That is significant because I don't think they would have done it had LastPass failed in this big attempt. So anyway, there's a few others. There are lots of others, in fact. There's one called RoboForm. There's one called One Password. It's the number one password. There's one called Dashlane. And then there's one called KEEPASS that some people like because you don't have to store it in the cloud. It's stored locally on your computer and encrypted and all that kind of stuff. But to me, it's missing a P, so it says keep ass, and I just think that's wrong. Okay, we'll move on. So I use LastPass to keep track of that. Here's another thing that I do, and this doesn't work for all sites because some sites have blocked it, but this is called 10-minute mail. What happens sometimes is we end up having to register in all these stupid places because all these people want to give us free stuff in exchange for our email. They say, oh, just put your email in here and we'll send you a white paper with the 10 best ways for physical therapists to take their career to the next level. That's wonderful. But we don't want everybody to have our emails because that's why sometimes we can't get off any of these lists. So 10-minute mail is a site where it gives you an email the last 10 minutes. So as soon as it comes up, there it is. It gives you this temporary email address. And it says, okay, you need to register. Fine. This is the email address you give them. And then they say, okay, check your inbox and we'll send you the link to the white paper you want. Here's where it's going to come in. And then they don't have your information and you don't have to hear from them again and you get the information you want. Please don't tell marketing companies that I'm giving you that tip because they don't like it when I say things like that. But 10 minutes, if it hasn't come in a couple minutes, you can do 10 more minutes. Some sites have disabled, it's the TRBVN email. I haven't had a huge problem with it. When I go, it's just mostly sites that have the white paper kind of stuff and it's just no big deal. But be aware that some people haven't been able to use it on some things. All right. You guys probably have heard of Evernote. Evernote has been around for quite some time, and it's a major competitor to OneNote, Microsoft's tool. And Microsoft's tool has been around for even longer, but nobody had even heard of OneNote until Evernote came along and got popular, and then OneNote became popular as well, and now they're rivals. What Evernote is the ultimate note taker. Like if you're sitting at your computer right now and you're taking notes, handwritten notes, you can actually take a picture with your phone of those notes. Evernote will use OCR, optical character recognition, to turn that into something you can search, and you can take that information and throw it up into this folder. Think of it as a folder. That folder that's sitting on your desk that has maybe it has all these kind of new exercises that you've been thinking about and notes from the last meeting and all these things for all these new clients you have or something like that. And they're all in one folder, all these new ideas you have. Evernote is that folder everywhere. And it's accessible from any way you're interested in getting into it. And putting things into it. So if you want to do a voice note in there, that's fine. Video note, that's fine. Clips from the web, that's fine. All these ways to throw information in there. It's wonderful, but I hate it. And I'll just take a couple of minutes to tell you very briefly why I hate it. So my husband, wonderful man, this is my real husband, not my practice husband. This one I like, but he just doesn't listen. I would do this, talking to people about tech tools, I would do this if nobody was listening. I love this stuff. And I'm sitting here in my house, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this tech tool, it's the best thing ever. And he hears Charlie Brown teacher on methamphetamines, ba 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 ba, because he's not listening. But one day he comes home from work and he says, Beth, I'm so excited. I found the perfect tool for you to tell people about. I've earned my nerd credentials because this is going to change everybody's life. I'm like, wow, cool. DJ's a lawyer, and I forgive him for that. He used to carry around, you remember those big briefcases that are like, they're actually like file cabinets, and they're legal size in the legal arena. So he was carrying one of those to court with him, and he would take out a folder, open it up, write notes in it, close it up, take it back to the office. A paralegal would take it out, retype it, put it back in the folder. I mean, it was crazy. They were doing all this stuff by hand. They were printing out emails, all these things. He said, we've gotten rid of all that. Nowadays, I bring my iPad into court. I type directly into my iPad. It's instantly synchronized with everything that everybody can see in the office. All the emails we get are automatically put in there. We can find any client without having to dig through piles in any time and find any document we need. Everybody has access. It's available anywhere we are from any device. I'm like, wow, that is amazing. What tool is that? And he says, Evernote. And I'm like, that's funny. It's in all 3 of my books, which you said you read. I talk about it at technology sessions all the time, and you've come to some and sat in the front row. And I used it to plan our wedding. And I said, so where did you hear about Evernote? And he said, a paralegal at work told me. And I said, so you're telling me that a 23-year-old blonde paralegal the size of my pinky tells you about a technology tool and you're enlightened. From now on, get your tools at home. Yeah, you can see why I'm bitter. You can see why I don't use it. But really, it's revolutionized how people take notes and what they do. Another thing that Evernote has done, now Evernote's been drawing back lately, but this is a tool that they put out that people really like. It's called Scannable. And it's a business card scanner, and it's linked up with LinkedIn. So let's say you go to an IPTA conference and you're live and you're changing business cards and meeting people who may help your career. You can take pictures of those with Scannable and hook it up directly to LinkedIn immediately and put it in Evernote, keep it in LinkedIn, keep it in your contacts, and do that much faster. For free. Did I mention that? Actually, no, that's not true. Evernote has 3 different pricing levels now. One is free. Then they have a moderate one, which is like $5 a month. And then they have one that's like, I don't know. It's all really cheap. Let's talk about email real quick. One of the best things that ever happened to us as professionals is that we can get email on our phones. One of the worst things that has ever happened to us as professionals is that we can get email on our phones. It drives us crazy. A lot of times we can't get through it all. We just look at it and sigh, like, oh my gosh, my email is just filling up. So what Microsoft did was made their Outlook, regular old Microsoft Outlook, free as an app. And it's got a lot of different things in it. You'd be really surprised. Inside the app, you know how sometimes when you have your email and somebody writes you and says, hey, can I come at 2? Like, oh, perfect, let me check. And so you get out of your email and you go into your calendar and you check to see if you're available at 2. But before you get to the calendar, like a kid runs through the living room, tracking mud everywhere, and a cat throws up in the corner. All these things happen. And you're like, by the time you get to the calendar, you've forgotten when the guy asked to come. And you have to go back and forth. So Outlook actually has the calendar inside the app, so you can toggle back and forth. You don't have to be a Microsoft user to use the Outlook app. You can import any of your emails into there and get them all in one place. And then it does what we call email triage, which lets you, you know the app Tinder, where you swipe left and swipe right and do things with your thumb. You judge people silently, very quickly, going through a whole list. Well, a lot of apps are making that swipe a part of their capabilities. So Outlook, you can swipe very quickly through a list to send some to archive, some to do later, some to come back to later, all these different things very quickly. Unroll.me, that's one of my favorites. This is to combat all the flippin' emails you get every day. So let me come in here. Unroll.me is a site you go to and you sign up for your Gmail or Yahoo. It's all internet-based, cloud-based mail. So some of this may be personal and not through your office. But you sign up for it and it'll help you distinguish between email you want and email you want to get rid of, and email you want but you don't necessarily want all the time. Spam is the stuff you don't want. Bacon is the stuff that you may want sometimes, but you don't want it to clutter up your box. So every day around noon, I get an email from Unroll.me into which all these emails that I'm interested in but might not need every day are put into. So here's an artist I like. Lord knows 1-800-Flowers wants to make sure I don't miss their specials. Nordstrom Rack, all these different things are in this one email. It's a digest of things that I don't necessarily want clogging up my inbox. So they're not coming into my inbox, they're coming into a special inbox in my Gmail. But I get that one email a day with everything in it. But if I'm interested in something, I can either push directly, I can click any of the things directly in that one summary email, or at any time I can pop over here to my main unroll.me folder, and in here are all the ones. And again, these didn't hit my regular email box. They're all kind of hidden away and I don't have to see them if I don't want to. It's very, very helpful. Just like 1-800-Flowers is very helpful in reminding me that Valentine's Day is coming up. All right. Let's go back to here. This next tool, you may have something very similar to it on your phone already. If you have a tool that's a scanning tool that lets you take a picture of a piece of paper or a stack of papers and use it like a scanner. So instead of like feeding it into a scanner on a fax machine, for gosh sakes, or anything like that, you just take pictures of each page and you can group them up as a PDF and save them. This is very wonderful. There's Genius Scan, there's Tiny Scanner, there's all kinds of things. Office Lens is a little bit different. Yes, you can scan it. You can only scan one page at a time. But when you scan one page, this is a Microsoft product as well, you scan one page and it will, within a few clicks, turn that into a PDF or a document you can actually edit. Within a couple of clicks, you can scan a piece of paper that's on your table and get it, send it to Microsoft Word on your phone, and take your finger, put it inside that document, and start typing. It's pretty amazing. Now, you have to get the full functionality, you have to have Microsoft 365 subscriptions somewhere in your life. And they cost between anywhere from $59 a month, you can find it for students sometimes, up to $99 a month for the retail price. I usually find it for about a year. $69 a year. And that gives you the full functionality of all of the Microsoft products on your phone, so they're not just read-only. But with Office Lens, you can scan it and have it be something you can edit right there. One of the things that I love about PTs and PTAs is that you guys are so humble. You bring people back to where they need to be. You give them their lives back. And I think sometimes we get caught up in being humble and doing our jobs and not really learning to tell our story. We all know that in PT and PTAs, we're constantly trying to work with legislation to justify how valuable you are and what you do. So here are a few tools that'll help you just kind of tell that story. Now this one, I'm going to show you this video and then I'm going to tell you about it. This was from a conference I did for PT and PTA students in Kentucky.
Yeah, listen to that funky guitar. Come on, 2 words, just dance. And get off your pants and just dance. Yeah. Act like this is your one chance to just dance. Yeah. Come on, let the beat put you in the trance and just dance. South Dakota to the South of France. Yeah, see, I wanna rock right now. Stepped up in the spot to get down. I am internationally known for acting classy, trashy, and grown. Let's get stupid, outrageous. You can't fake this, it's contagious. Just move it, don't stay stiff. It's a rhythm that you can't play with. It's the groove that I selected. It's infectious, all you affected. Need to get on the flow and sweat it out. Give it what you got, let it go. Get down and get in the groove. See, when you start, you can't lose. I got 2 words for you and your crew.
Now, I'm betting that you were clapping very loudly and that you enjoyed the video. Believe it or not, I took these pictures took me about 15 minutes to find some people, these students hanging out. I took their pictures, and then I used a tool called Animoto. And with Animoto, I chose a theme, I chose a song, I chose those pictures, I added one text slide, I pressed a button. The other day I did it in 1 minute 38 seconds to turn a whole bunch of pictures into an actual video. Animoto, that's this tool, is free for up to 30 seconds or a whopping $30 a year for the deluxe version. Now obviously that was a silly one, but one of the things we know is that when you're talking about, your PTs, your PTAs, you're not necessarily in the business of selling your office and selling your clinic, but it's all about, do people like you? So what if you walked around the office and took pictures of all the PTs and PTAs doing fun things and made that fun video that you could send out or even show at the front desk when people were coming in on a little iPad, just to help them get to know you a little bit better? Or putting on your other hat, if you have a life outside the office, which I know many of you do, it's so cool to make videos for your volunteer work, for your church, for your family. So quick, so easy. And again, the version that you just saw was $30 a year, or you can even use a free one. Here's one. Now I know you're constantly having PDFs and you put things together and you put together specialized exercises for your clients and all kinds of stuff. But here's another way to do it. This is called Issuu, ISSUU. Let me go to the site here. And what Issuu lets you do is upload any PDF, and within a couple of clicks, it can turn itself into an online magazine. So here are all right. It's going to come up with mine in just a second. Come on. We don't have time to wait. Apparently we do. All right. So here are some that I just uploaded. All these are PDFs. This PDF was a PowerPoint that somebody had, and we uploaded it to here, and it took like 3 minutes. You just uploaded it, found it, uploaded it, gave it a name, and pressed a button, and then it put itself up here. And as soon as it did, it turned itself into a flippable magazine. It's coming up. I don't know why it's so slow. Here we go. Ta-da! There you go. So you could take PDFs, you could take different things you have, you could take the office brochure, all your services or something, and put it in online as a catalog rather than just a PDF that you can download for free. Now, if you don't pay anything for it, it can have advertisements around it. I just realized I have an ad blocker up here, so it's blocking 11 ads, so that may be why it's taken so long, see? But it will put in related things and advertisements and stuff like that, but you don't have to pay for it, but then you have to put up with a few ads. All right, I'm going to give you a couple of tools that'll help you grow your career. Some resume tools. There are 3 of them: Canva, Visualize Me, and LinkedIn that I'm going to talk about today. Canva is really one of my favorite tools. Let me show it to you real quick. I have it pulled up over here. Canva is not only for resumes, but I'm sticking to resumes for this one because, but there are so many other things you can do. Canva.com. It's also on iPads. And you just click on any of these templates and you can start editing just like you knew what you were doing with a graphic designer or whatever. But in the documents area, there's resume. So as soon as I click in here, it's going to come up with a whole bunch of different templates and I can start personalizing it. For my next job, I really want a place where I could apply. It's going to come up in just a second. Where I could apply with this resume, because this to me, if I can apply with a yellow resume, if it's that kind of place, I think they would hire me. Just like when we were using Easily, it's the same concept where you can click in and start editing. So I'm going to there we go. And then you can see you can click in different places. No, it's not letting me click in there. Here it is. It's supposed to say nerd. You can start clicking down there. Look at all of the different resumes that you could immediately click on. Conservative ones, creative ones, all kinds of stuff. Now here's how Canva makes money. If there is a picture and it has a watermark on it, it's $1. If there are no pictures, it's free. And you can drag your own pictures in there. So like this one, it's got a $sign because these are pictures that would all cost $1. So there's 3 of them. But when you have your own pictures, you just drag them in there. There you go. And you notice it added that filter automatically. There you go. All done. And you can save it. Visualize Me is a tool that links up with your LinkedIn. And all you do is put your profile in there and then you can change themes, you can change everything. And it does a visualization of your education. See this? Now you can change the styles. Now this one is really more creative than most of you are probably going to be able to use in your line of work. But sometimes it's fun to just visualize where you've been and the work you've done. I really like this one. It's got this theme where you can kind of see the overlapping of all the work you've done. And it's just going out to LinkedIn and pulling in all that information. And then you can personalize that and change the colors, change the styles, all kinds of stuff very easily. Now, LinkedIn has a secret resume builder. It's in a lab. They haven't updated in a long time, but I swear it's so easy to use. So I could click on, this is all hooked up, I can click on New Resume. And I can change the style. There it is. That's it. I just made a resume and I didn't do anything. It did everything for me and put it all together. That's it. And then I could save it as a PDF and share it. Ta-da, just did a resume. You look up LinkedIn Resume Builder and you'll find it. Again, they haven't updated this thing in forever. I don't know why, because it's awesome, but it's there if you know where to look. All right. I really, really, really enjoy saying thank you. And unfortunately, so often we just don't take the time these days. We're just crazy busy. We use that term all the time, but it's true. So there are some tools I like that'll help you say thank you without actually doing any work. This one's called Postagram, and with Postagram, you can send a postcard for about $1. See, I have a picture here. I was able to write a note. I put my logo, just uploaded my logo, and I put the address. And then it's mailed straight from my phone. I never have to touch it, and it's put in the mail for about $1 without me having to do anything. Plus, as soon as it goes in the mail, it'll track it and let you know when it got to your destination. So usually within about 3 to 5 days after I send it, somebody will get it. Now, wouldn't this be great for the last day of PT for someone you've been working with for a long time to show them, their last big smile? Fantastic way to say thank you without actually having to remember to sit down. You just grab a picture. These I like a lot. It's called Felt, the Felt app. Again, it's just pictures from your phone. These are my cats. Their names are Copy and Paste. And all you do is take a picture or pick out a few pictures, and it will even put the address on there for you. Now, if you notice, I have my address right there. I'm not sure if you can see it really, but it looks like it's handwritten because I actually hand wrote it out in the app to make it look like I hand wrote it, even though I didn't. But if you send somebody this, where's it going to go? It's not going to go in the trash. They're going to put it on their desk because it's really cool and it's this accordion thing. Now this last one is a little bit more expensive. Oh, I've got one more after this one. This one's a little bit more expensive. It costs $30. But it's called heymosaic.com. It's called a mosaic photo album. And you just choose 25 pictures from your phone, and it will send this beautiful color photo album. And if you see the box right here behind there, it comes in a beautiful box. It's like inset in the box. It's a really nice gift. This one's about $30, so it's a little bit more expensive. You may have heard of this tool. It's called Groovebook. Groovebook was on Shark Tank, and it was recently sold to Shutterfly. Groovebook, every month for $3.99, I think it's $3.99, maybe $2.99, I can't remember, but it's some ridiculously small amount of money. You choose 100 pictures from your phone, and it'll create a photo album and send it to you. Create a photo album and send it to you. It's this big, thick photo album of 100 pictures, and they're perforated, so you can actually tear them out. They're 4x6, and you can tear them out and share them. Can you say grandma book for all those kids? All right, so I'm going to do a couple more tools. One thing that is very low cost that you may find very helpful is virtual assistants. Some people think that they don't need them, but gosh, I find reasons to use mine all the time. Mine are called Fancy Hands. It's a group out of DC. They're all US-based assistants, and they do everything from entering business cards for me so I don't have to take pictures of them and enter the business cards myself. They make appointments for me. They make appointments with my physical therapy masseuse for me. They will help me find products, like we live here in California and we had to pick up our lawn, and take out the green. There's a type of vinegar that will kill grass, but it's hard to find. So I had somebody call around and try to find the places that sell this thing. It's a little task like that. It's $30 a month for the lowest level, and that's for 5 tasks a month. But I'm just forever throwing the little things at them that I don't have time to do. They're small tasks, but they help you focus on what's important. Here's another helper. I showed you a couple of little things about graphics, but if you don't want to ever do your resume and want somebody else to do it, if you would never like to do a graphic, an infographic, you can use this place. It's called Fiverr, Fiverr.com. And Fiverr is thousands of freelancers. See that video? I don't exactly know what to do with it, but it cost me $5 to make. See these pictures here? They cost me about $5 to $10 each. Full color pictures of me with various hand gestures or whatever. And I had a whole series done for about $5 to $10 each. Fantastic. So you just go on there and you can find somebody who can do a logo for you, can design a business card for you, help you set up a website, whatever, starting at $5. Now these were the ones that won. Sometimes you have to remember that these guys are only getting paid $5, so they're not going to spend a lot of time on this. These were the guys that lost. Yeah, not so cute. So when I go out there and I have a big project, I will hire several people at the same time and see who does the best job. And then I will go back to that person and have them finish out whatever I need. All right, so that's Fiverr. So my big question for you is this. Answer this in your head. Answer this chat. I don't know, Matthew, if you want to let everybody hang out for a few minutes and answer this, but this is the most critical question. Ask yourself, the app I'm most excited about is what? Because I plan to what? Put these into action. Take a few minutes to think about that. But I'm afraid to say that
Our nerdy time is through, but Betsy is always here for you. Your nerdybestfriend.com.
Thank you guys very much. If you need my help, you can always email me at beth@yournerdybestfriend.com. Thanks you for letting me come in virtually. There are all your handouts.